Hey everyone, my name is Colin. I'm one of the pre-health career advisors here at PAC. And today we're going to be focused on specifically program sheets and sample plans. So essentially what these are, and they are extremely beneficial whenever it comes to actually advising advisees. Um, these are essentially just sheets and plans that really just break down somebody's major. So whether it be like, the common biology major that you can see as a pre-health advisee, sorry, as a pre-health advisor, or if, it's like some random major that you've never come across before, these are really beneficial in helping really break down, some of the general education requirements, some of the major requirements, some of the elective courses, things like that, that somebody's going to can technically anticipate whenever it comes to actually pursuing one particular major. So program sheets are going to have all that information for you. And then sample plans are really just going to have like a 4-year plan or like a 4-year breakdown of exactly what classes they can anticipate to take when they can take their, obviously when they can anticipate to take their general education requirements, when they can anticipate to take their electives, things like that. Obviously, 4-year plans for colleges are not always, set in stone. Most of the time they are fluid. They can be moved around. Just like, obviously the 4-year plan that you make as an advisee or will continue to make as an advisee when you practice and actually, eventually advise. But it's really important to memorize sorry, not to memorize, but to understand that the majority of the time, these 4-year plans are really helpful for guiding us and really, obviously anticipating what classes come before which without, going out of our way to look at the prerequisites for every single course. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to be talking about these. And the main thing that I really want you guys to refer to is the course catalog, which is very simplified. So if you just go to any Google Chrome extension, whatever it may be, any like search engine, you can go ahead, you can just look up UH Manila. So just go directly to UH Manila's website, and you're going to find this website here, obviously. This is probably a website that you've seen obviously many times in your life. Um, and essentially, all you're going to do is just come over here to the search bar. And all I want you to do is simply just search in course catalog. And if you hit the search bar here, sorry, if you hit the search button here, you're going to see like a few things that come up first. You don't want the courses from 2021, 2022. Obviously, you don't want the courses from 2023, 2024. You want the most updated version of the course catalog. And that is going to be under here. So University of Hawaii Manoa Modern Campus Catalog. So if you want, you can look up Modern Campus Catalog. So that's going to be your very first option so you don't get confused. But make sure you're always clicking on this particular one here, as this is going to bring you directly to the catalog that you need. So if you click on it here, I guess technically what you could also do is you could also bookmark this particular website as well, whether that be actually like in the UHPAC Google Chrome extension, or whether it be on your own personal Chrome extension. You can use either one, so you can refer to this and not have to look it up too as well. Okay, so anyways, you're going to know you're in the right spot whenever you see this particular page here. So you're going to see the 2025, 2026 UH Manoa catalog here, obviously. And you're going to see this big picture of these students here. So that's when you know you're in the right spot. So this catalog is kind of confusing to look at first. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on, but it's actually very easy to break down. They have like an introductory, like kind of like almost like usage paragraph here that you can use as well. But this is really important. But most of the stuff on the side is really what you're going to be referring to. Um, so if you look at this particular section right here, the college, schools, departments, and programs, et cetera, et cetera, this is essentially just a section in which you can refer to any form of college. So somebody, for example, is in like, the College of Natural Sciences or College of Engineering, you can click on this particular page here. And what you're going to get is essentially every single major that qualifies as a social, sorry, this is the social sciences. This is the wrong one. Or the natural sciences. Okay, so the College of Natural Sciences, very first thing you're going to see here is essentially like every single major or classification of a degree that's going to be confined within this particular college. So as you probably learned in the past, a college is essentially just an individual organization within a university that encompasses a certain study. So study of natural sciences, these will be every single major that's going to attribute to that particular study of the natural sciences. Here you can find the administration, the contact information, general information regarding the particular college, the college in general, honor societies that are included within the college, student organizations, undergraduate programs. Obviously, there's other things like logistical things as well, like grade and point averages that you have to maintain, et cetera, credit averages that you have to maintain, et cetera, like to graduate a degree. Here's some general education requirements. There's some general requirements that all CNS majors are going to have to obviously fulfill in order to get the degree. So things like this you can find here for these particular majors. So I believe it's often pretty helpful. this information for in particular for the colleges like natural sciences or just like, general information about colleges in general. It's really helpful and applicable for incoming freshmen. So incoming freshmen obviously want to don't know what degree they want to pursue yet. You can obviously refer them to this too, so they can look at, what classes they're going to have to take regardless of what major they pursue within a particular college. So this is all very helpful information as well. And obviously the advising offices are here too. So like, let's say, for example, that you are advising somebody within a major that you're not familiar with, you can always go to the major within that college. I'm sorry, go to the college that that major is a part of. I'm sorry, the major that the college is, that major that the major in which, the college that's affiliated with that particular major, and you can see exactly where the advising offices are for that particular person. So for example, if they are a CNS major, you can see that the advising offices are in the Hamilton Library. You have the contact information, you have the additional website that you can look at. So you can help that advisee really narrow down exactly who their general major advisor is. And like I said, a lot of times freshmen have some confusion with this as well. So, obviously referring them to this particular website or finding the advisor by yourself is also really good, or walking them through it as well is very helpful. But the main thing in which honestly, the main way to find their major advisor is just to walk them through the STAR. Obviously, through the STAR website, you can find their major advisor that way. But you can also find them through here as well, which is really helpful. Other things here, obviously, you can see all the programs and all the degrees that qualify or participate within this particular college. You can see them all here. So this is helpful to understand as well. So you can always refer to these to see exactly where a major may fall and what college it may be under, et cetera, et cetera. But the main thing that we really want to talk about here in this particular course catalog is obviously and the whole point of this Trello is the program sheets and the sample plans. So you can mainly find these underneath the undergraduate programs A through Z. You can also find graduate programs, some of their program sheets and sample plans under the graduate programs, but obviously most of the people that you're going to be advising are undergraduate students. So we're going to go to the undergraduate programs A through Z. And as you can see here, it's going to include every single major that we offer here at UH Manoa. So literally every single major you can imagine, including like, minors and certificates, et cetera, are all going to be listed on this particular portion of the course catalog here. So let's say, for example, a student walks in and they are obviously, a biology major. So you're going to click on that respective major. You're going to see the total amount of credits that they have to satisfy in order to get their degree, the total amount they have to do in core and major, and then however many in electives. Um, and then obviously your general education core requirements are going to be outlined here. So these are all pretty straightforward. You just follow these, and it'll give you the total amount of course credit that you're going to need in order to satisfy general education requirements. So that's going to be the very first thing that you're going to see under the program sheet for a particular major. You see that here. Okay, focus requirements are listed here. These are going to be the same for everybody regardless of their major. So these are not going to change. Credit minimums are here. Grade point average, obviously, we have to maintain in order to actually stay in the major and obviously graduate with that particular degree. College requirements are going to be listed here, and then your major requirements are all going to be listed here. So just remember, like most of these courses, most of the time these students are not going to have to take every single one of these courses. Just remember that most of the time these courses are reiterations of one of themselves. So obviously, like our first example here, like Math 215, Math 241, 251A, those are all the same. Well, they're not the same class, but they're all fulfill the same requirement, but they are different iterations of the same class. So just keep that in mind whenever you're going through this as well. But like I said, most of these major requirements are, in fact, the courses that somebody's going to have to satisfy for their particular major, and they're all going to be listed here. All the core courses that they have to take are going to be listed here, so they will have to take every single one of these classes in order to fulfill the degree. So anytime you see any core courses, the 24 credits worth, and if you see 24 credits worth of classes, they are going to have to take every single one of those courses in order to satisfy that major requirement. And elected credits, of course, all these elected credits here are all, courses that the students are available to take. They have to take usually between 19 and 22 credits worth of those in order to satisfy um, that particular section for the degree. But most of the time, if you can see up here, you can always refer to this top page too as well. They technically only need 9 credits in electives as well. So they could technically take like 3 of these courses and call it a day for the most part. But let's see here. Okay. So that's really important to keep in mind. So make sure you distinguish between how many elective credits they really need to take versus their major courses and like courses that they're actually required to take versus, what they have the freedom to take, things like that. Okay. So that's essentially the program sheet. So the program sheet is going to be this top section here in the course catalog. And it's going to essentially outline every single general education requirement that they're going to have to take within a particular major, and as well as, all the major requirements they're going to have to take, as well as all the elective course options that they have available for them to fulfill those elective requirements. So that's really important. Credit minimums are also listed for you. Grade point averages are also listed for you, things like that. Degree requirements are also listed for you as well. So just keep this in mind whenever you're reviewing this document as well. So that is the program sheet, and that's where you're going to find the main program sheets. We're also going to see other variations of program sheets as well that you can look at too, but this is usually where you're going to refer mostly for the course, is the course catalog, and you're going to look at the first section for the program sheets. So this is where they're all going to be listed. Now, for the 4-year plans, these are simply your sample plans. The 4-year plan is exactly what it sounds like. It's exactly like the ones that we use here in the advising office. However, they're going to include obviously all the advisees and major courses as well. So all the major courses they're going to take, the elective courses, et cetera, et cetera. They're not going to include obviously the program prerequisites for any graduate course, for any, any graduate programs, things like that, or any professional school programs. So it's really important to keep that in mind as well. But the 4-year plans are outlined here. You're going to see year 1, fall, spring, year 2, fall, spring, year 3, fall, spring, year 4, fall, spring. And essentially what it's going to do is it's going to tell you exactly what the normal plans look like, for advisees most of the time. Obviously, like I said, this list and this particular 4-year plan is usually pretty fluid, so you don't have to abide directly by it, but it's always a good reference for students, who obviously don't know what's going on. It's a pretty good way of, referring them to this so they have some sort of direction when it comes to scheduling their classes in STAR. But obviously, and as I mentioned before, kind of like, some of the major requirements, et cetera, et cetera. Some of these classes are obviously reiterations of one of themselves. So obviously these classes will all fulfill the requirement, but they're all different courses. So just make sure that you are explaining this to the advisee as well. Okay. It is a little messy compared to some of the old ones, but like I said, this will give you all the information that you'll need to know in terms of, obviously, um, creating the 4-year plan for the advisee. Because honestly, the main purpose of this is to, some advisees, they like to have their major courses in addition to whatever professional school prerequisites they're going to need in order for matriculation. So it's good to have both classes in the plan sometimes as well. That's really up to you and what the advisee wants to pursue as well. But this is here for you as well. Obviously, electives are listed here too. So that essentially wraps up everything that you can find in the course catalog. So to reiterate, you're going to find, if you go to the course catalog home here, okay. So if you simply just go to the UHMNO website and you look up course catalog or modern course catalog, and you find the 2025-26 UHMNO catalog, or the most recent catalog for whatever respective year that you are in, just make sure that you understand that you have to go to undergraduate programs A through Z. And when you pull this up, you're going to see every single major, every single minor, every single certificate that we offer here at UH Manoa. Just remember that whatever respective major the advisee is deciding to pursue, make sure you click on that major. And in the first half, as I mentioned, you're going to see the program sheet. It's going to outline all the general education course requirements for you, all the major course requirements for you, all the requirements that they're going to need to actually graduate with that particular degree, as well as, obviously the 4-year plan or the sample plan at the very bottom of the page, which walks you through exactly what courses you can anticipate over the course of 4 years that the advisee is going to take. So you can add those on in addition to whatever professional school requirements they're going to need as well within the 4-year plan. Okay. And obviously, like I mentioned too, you can find almost all the information. Let me go back to the home here. You can find almost any information that you want about the general colleges in particular, any majors that are classified under those colleges. You can find information about that. You can also find information, obviously, about tuition fees, financial aid, et cetera, et cetera. Also personnel as well. This is also pretty straightforward, but like I said, the main focus of this particular video is program sheets and sample plans, so we're going to just stick to that. Another thing too that you can find with course catalog as well as course descriptions. So like, for example, if advisee ever has any questions about a particular course, how many credits it might satisfy, the prerequisites for that particular course, all you would do is just go into this course description here, search the course, enter it, and it will give you all that information that you need to know. Okay. So this is, like I said, like I mentioned, the course catalog is going to be the main source of information that you're going to need for finding information regarding program sheets and sample plans. However, you can also use resources that we have here listed in the Trello. So there's also a designated website for the major of the College of Arts, Languages, and Letters. So that's going to be right here. So you would find this exactly the same way that you would find the course catalog. So you can look up UH Manoa, and then you can look up, obviously, the College of Arts, Languages, and Letters Advising Center. If you look that up and you click that particular link, you can find that information here. So, however, you're going to be directed here to this main website here. But essentially, all this website does is it just gives you information that you already know. So you can find this information via the course catalog as well, but this is like kind of like a more selective website. It's more obviously tailored to students who are pursuing any degree within the arts, the languages, letters, et cetera, things like that. So you can always refer anybody who's pursuing those particular majors or degrees to this particular website here. However, you're going to find all the program sheets and sample plans underneath the students aspect here. So if you click on students here, in a second, you can find all those program sheets and obviously sample plans down here. So like say somebody's pursuing a BA in Art Studio. It's going to be listed right here for you. So this is going to be the program sheet right here. All the program stuff is going to be listed here. You can see this at the bottom here. So this is essentially what the old program sheets kind of look like as well, and what the ones I'm going to show you here in a few seconds also look like. But this one's very similar to Reed as well. You just look at the general education requirements they have to take here, the graduation requirements that they're going to need here as well. So it kind of reads exactly like the course catalog that I mentioned, obviously for the modern catalog. So it's almost exactly like that. There's abbreviations given to you here if you need to look at those. But however, this is more of like, just a PDF format rather than obviously just a website format. Okay. Oops. Let me go back to that. Okay. Yeah. So essentially, like I said, you can find essentially the program sheets for every single major in here. However, like I said, this is only somewhat beneficial just because, like I said, you can only see really the program sheets as, kind of like a PDF breakdown rather than, website breakdown, which is sometimes more helpful. But unfortunately, you can't see the sample plans here on this particular website. So you would have to go back to the course catalog, find the respective major, as I mentioned before, and then look at the 4-year plan or the sample plan that they have there on the website. Okay. So but that resource is always there for you to look at as well. So just make sure and just remember that you can either use the link that's listed here in your Trello, so you can always refer back to the Trello and use that link, or you can just simply search up the College of Arts, Languages, and Advising Center through obviously the UH Window website too, and you'll get this website as well. Okay. One last thing I want to talk about too is we also, through the PAC Google Drive, we also have this resource that you can use as well. Um, so it's very simple to get here. And essentially what this is it's just essentially all the program sheets as well as the 4-year plan saved for the College of Natural Sciences as well as for KRS majors. So these are really just helpful for pre-health advisees for the most part, just because like most of the time they're going to have one of these majors. Like these are the most common and frequent majors that you're going to see as an advisor here at PAC. So these are really beneficial to refer to sometimes if you don't want to go out of your way to look at the course catalog, but you can always use the course catalog as a primary resource. Um, Essentially, this is very simple to get to. If you just go through the Google Drive, through our PAC, this can be, obviously through our PAC website. Not through our PAC website, but through our PAC Google extension. Actually, let me just show you how to go through it. So I'll just stop sharing this one. Let me bring up the other one. Okay, let me get out of this. Okay. So like normal, as you usually see, obviously through the PAC Google extension, whatever it may be, if you're not using, obviously the PAC Max that we have, whatever it may be, just make sure through your own computer, you're logging into our Google extension, and you're going to this particular Google Drive option here. If you click on this, make sure you hit the home button here so you can actually bring up the PAC folder. Why is it taking so long? There it goes. Okay. So you're going to see it under the suggested folder here. So we're going to click on advising. And then we're going to be clicking on the bachelor's degree program sheets here. And if you click on this, you're going to see the CNS and the KRS. So like I said, very simple to use. If you just, for example, like if somebody is a biology major and you want to look at the program sheet and you want to look at the 4-year plan before you start obviously before you have the meeting. And like I said, this is very important just to do this before you have the meeting, not right before, but a little bit before so you can plan for the meeting. If you want to see, obviously what the 4-year plan looks like, so you can develop your own 4-year plan for the advisee that includes both the major requirements as well as electives, and in addition to that, some of the professional health requirements as well for the professional schools. You can go to CNS here, and you can find all the information that you need here. So it's going to give you obviously the Word document for the program sheet for the respective major, as well as, um, also, I believe, yeah, this is an Excel sheet. Some Excel sheet as well for the 4-year plan or the sample plans. So like, for example, let's say they have a BA in biology, we'll just stick with that. You can see the respective program sheet listed here in the Google Doc for you. It's already listed out for you, all the course requirements and everything that you need. It's going to be exactly like the course catalog that I just mentioned earlier. Oh my God, this thing is really slow. Okay, there's that. And then obviously the sample plan as well, which is here as well. So this is kind of just a little bit more neat and organized compared to the website. So obviously you don't have the website orientation, so you're not like constantly scrolling down and just seeing things laterally. You can actually see them here, like in the 4-year plan, like we have them presented in our 4-year plans here at PAC. So sometimes this is a little bit more helpful to refer to. So you can always refer to this as well. Just make sure you're never sharing any of these resources with anybody outside of this organization. Just make sure you keep that in mind. So these are confidential forms. Sorry, these are confidential, obviously, documents. So please don't share these. But yeah, so that applies essentially if you like for any single major that you can see that's really common for health majors, et cetera, et cetera. And like I mentioned, you can also see those for the KRS majors as well. So it's going to be exactly the same thing. I'm not going to run through this, but it's very simple. You just look at the program sheet and you look at the sample plans, but they are also listed here for you. Okay, let me stop sharing that. Go back to the main screen here. Stop the main screen. Okay, all right. Okay, so that essentially just wraps everything up. So to summarize, and like I mentioned time and time again, program sheets and sample plans are extremely important just because essentially what they do is they allow you to see all the major requirements, all the general education requirements, all the elective requirements, et cetera, that are listed within a particular major. So the things that the advisee has to in fact satisfy in order to get there that particular degree. So like I said, this is very important for a lot of advisees. It's also very important for you whenever you develop a 4-year plan for an advisee. So you can see what classes they have to take, what, obviously major requirements they have to satisfy, things like that. So you can actually obviously create a 4-year plan that's more representative and more personable to the advisee. So it's going to include all of their major courses as well as, all the professional school courses that they need to satisfy in order to actually um, matriculate into their respective professional school. So these are very important in order to, obviously become a more knowledgeable advisor and obviously advise these in a way that's um, more personable and also obviously for formulating better 4-year plans. So just keep that in mind. Okay, and if we look at the questions down here, whether program sheets and sample plans, I've already mentioned this several times. Program sheets are essentially just exactly what it sounds like. They are just listing all the major requirements, all the general education requirements, all the elective requirements, as well as all the technicalities that really come with the major and what you really need to actually satisfy the major and actually pursue and actually graduate to get the degree. And sample plans are exactly what they sound like. They're just kind of like a 4-year breakdown of exactly what major courses they're going to need um, in which semester, respectively, um, and in order to actually obviously graduate with a degree. So these sample plans are a lot like our 4-year plans that we see here at PAC. They just outline which classes come before when. They're really beneficial and obviously aiding us as advisors, so we don't have to look up every single course and what the prerequisites are. So it already has them outlined for us, and we can see what comes before what, et cetera, et cetera. So it saves us a lot of time and energy. And like I said, these are very important, and utilizing both of these is very important just to make us more knowledgeable advisors and obviously help us better tailor whatever advising services we have to our advisees. I already mentioned why they're important. Then where you can find them, as I mentioned several times, you can obviously go to the UH Manoa website for the course catalog. You can you can click on the University of Hawaii Manoa modern course catalog here. You go under undergraduate programs A through Z here, and you click on one of these majors respectively, whatever it may be, whatever the advisees decide to pursue. You just click on that. Program sheet is listed in the upper half here. If you scroll down, plan template is in the lower half here. As I mentioned, we also reviewed the other two things as well. So like I mentioned, you can always use this Trello as a resource as well, but the KRS and the CRS, um, sorry, the KRS and CNS, these are the most common majors that you can see as a pre-health advisee are going to be listed here. Underneath the Google Drive, I've already mentioned how to go through those, but you essentially would just log into the PAC um, Google extension. You go to the Drive specifically, click on the PAC advising, and then click on bachelor's degree programs, and then click on whatever respective major that you are trying to advise on. And you can just see, obviously, the program sheets in the Word documents here, or the Google documents, and whatever you may want. That's not the right one. Sorry. So you can see the program sheets are going to be here in the Word document. And then you can see, this thing is really slow. There it goes. So you can see the program sheets are going to be in obviously the Google Docs here, outlined. Everything's outlined for you. It's almost reflective of exactly what you're going to find in the course catalog here. And then you can also see a direct 4-year plan here as well. That looks exactly like the 4-year plans that we created here at PAC. So those are available for you as well. And as I mentioned, we also went over the College of, or the majors of College of Arts, Languages and Letters. You can also refer to that particular website here. You can click on it, or you can look at it directly through searching this particular College of Arts, Languages and Letters Advising Center through the UH Middle website. Okay, so that essentially wraps up everything that you need to know regarding program sheets and sample plans in particular. And like I mentioned, these are just really important going forward. So just make sure you know this information, as it's extremely vital to obviously being a knowledgeable advisor and also helping advisees along and their path, whatever they're trying to pursue. But yeah, see you guys in the next one.